Update. Am I the a-hole for calling off my wedding because my fiancé wanted to invite her ex? Original post. My fiancé wanted to invite an ex to our wedding. From what I know, he was a jerk who always put her down and told her she'd never find anyone better. Naturally, I asked her why she would even want him at our wedding. She said she wanted to show him that she had done amazingly for herself and found someone way better. While I appreciated a compliment, I asked her, "Are you really so hung up on him that you'd make our wedding about proving something to him?" The moment I said it, it was like someone else was speaking. I didn't even realize what I was saying until the words came out. I then told her not to bother inviting him because we weren't getting married anymore. She was stunned and eventually apologized, saying she'd forget about her ex. I felt angry and almost said she was the one who needed to forget about him. She spent the rest of the day apologizing for bringing it up, but honestly, I'm now reconsidering the entire relationship. Now for the top comments before reading the update. Not the a-hole for calling off the wedding if her fixation on her ex raised serious doubts about the relationship. The fact that she wanted to invite him to shove it in his face shows that she's still emotionally tied to proving something to him. This, at minimum, she is not prepared for marriage. At worst, she still has feelings for him. I am not saying to end a relationship, but at least postpone the wedding for several months until you have more time to clear your uneasiness and feel again if she's the one. Don't take unnecessary risks. I'd suggest OP delaying for at least a year. If OP and fiancé are living together, I'd suggest they live separately. The goal being to find out if she is with OP because she loves him for himself, or does she love the idea of OP so she can throw it in her ex's face. Not the a-hole. She let you know she's not over her ex yet. That's why she wants to exhibit you to him like a prize or a trophy. What does she expect to happen after that? Does she intend him to come to her regretting he lost her, but now he's a different person and things could work between them? She didn't make her marriage about him for no reason. She didn't even consider it would be her marriage too. You did the right thing by reconsidering your relationship. She's not ready to marry, at least not with you. There should not be a third person in her mind when planning such an important step. This is 100% what's happening. She still thinks he will realize what he lost. Stop the wedding and ride with her into the sunset. Heck, I wouldn't be surprised if this turns into one of those been married for 10 years and just discovered my wife slept with her ex for closure before our wedding. Now for the update. I've decided to try some premarital counseling first. Our wedding has gone from being called off to being postponed indefinitely. My fiancé tried to explain why she wanted to invite her ex. But not only did her explanations keep changing, each one made it worse for me. First, she said she just wanted some payback. I asked her, and if he doesn't care, are you going to try to rub it in his face when we have our first child? Or when we buy our first home? She said that's not what she meant, and she just wanted to prove her worth. I responded, so I guess your ex is the only one who can determine your worth? We kept going back and forth like this for a while, and every answer boiled down to the same thing. She cares what her ex thinks, and apparently she can't be happy unless he feels some sort of way about it. She denied it, but honestly, I'm finding it hard to believe her. I don't want our marriage to only feel valuable if her ex validates it. I refuse to be with someone whose happiness revolves around their ex's feelings. That said, I've decided to at least give counseling a try. We've been together for years now. For context, she was with her ex for about 2 years, then met me 3 years later and we've been together for 4. I figured I should at least give it a shot, if nothing else, so I can say I tried. Not the a-hole. After 7 years broken up, 4 years out of the 7 with you, and sounds like she's still not over him. I wouldn't dare marry her. Exactly. If the ex were to show some interest, she'd drop OP in a hot minute. I almost wonder if she was hoping that by inviting her ex, he'd give her the opportunity. It's been 7 years, and she is still this obsessed. If you break up now, can you see yourself still being obsessed with her in 7 years' time whilst planning a wedding to someone else? Know your own worth, OP. Unfortunately, it makes me wonder if she's settling for OP solely as her insurance policy. Does she want to be in this relationship because she loves OP? Or has she just been using OP as an accessory to show off? It also makes me wonder what else has she tried to do to get her ex's attention when OP wasn't aware. How can you plan your future together when she's always going to be stuck in the past? It sounds like you're not holding out too much. Hope for counseling have any good effect. That's a very smart thing because I don't think I will. It's kind of hard to be hopeful after listening to my potential wife say she cares about what her ex thinks in like 10 different ways. It's been a long time, 7 years. Maybe time isn't the answer, and even therapy can't help her. I wish you the best, and thank goodness you've at least indefinitely suspended marrying her. It seems like she can't commit 200% being with you if she still feels so much about what her ex thinks. Last story. Final update. Am I the a-hole for not giving my partner a second chance after he made a mistake while he was on a vacation? Original post. I, female 26, met my partner, male 39, 6 years ago when I first moved to Canada from Germany. We moved in together within a year. We work in different fields but make about the same amount annually. I found out I was pregnant in July. When I told him, he was frustrated. I reminded him that I had repeatedly mentioned how my medication interactions required us to use rubbers, as advised by my doctor, but he had refused. Eventually, he said he was happy to become a dad and would support me. We were invited to a destination wedding in Mexico, his friend's wedding. I told him that my doctor had advised me not to travel, as I had been very sick lately and had been hospitalized a few times, so I couldn't go. He got upset and said he really wanted to attend. I got tired of hearing his complaints, so I told him it was fine. It was just a week and he should go ahead. I spoke to his mom, and she offered to drive me to the hospital if I needed to go while he was away. The wedding was last Tuesday. He left on Saturday evening. He sent me some pictures on the day of the wedding, saying he missed me and wished I was there. I replied that hopefully we could take more trips once the baby was here. Then he went quiet on Wednesday. I got worried and texted his friend, who replied, "Oh, yeah, he's fine. I'll tell him to text you." But still, I didn't hear anything. On Friday evening, last night, he finally called. I asked him what was going on and why he had left me worrying sick for days. He asked how I was doing and if I needed any help. I said I was okay and luckily I hadn't needed anything. Then he said he needed to tell me something. He confessed that he made a horrible mistake while drunk. He hooked up with one of the bridesmaids, the bride's sister, and brought her to his room. In the morning, he realized what a fool he was and told her to leave. He said, "I made a mistake, but you have to realize if you were with me, this wouldn't have happened. I was drunk and lonely. It was a one-time thing and meant nothing." I felt like my brain was frozen. I said, "And you ghosted me for days and are just telling me now? Were you with her this whole time?" He said no, that he needed time to think because he was ashamed. I told him not to bother coming home. I said he could stay with her or his mom until I found a place and that I never wanted to see him again. He accused me of being selfish, hormonal, and overreacting to one mistake. He said he took responsibility, owned up to what he did, and would do anything to prove himself to me. Am I overreacting for not even considering forgiving him for the sake of the baby? My best friend thinks we should try counseling and give him one last chance, but I'm just so upset that I can't even think clearly. Thank you for your advice. Now for the top comments before reading the updates. I made a mistake, but you have to realize if you were with me, this wouldn't have happened. This isn't taking responsibility for his behavior or owning his mistake. He's blaming you, and that's disgusting. Everything he said is making excuses for his choices. Cheating is a choice. He chose to go instead of staying with you, even throwing a tantrum until you gave in. He chose to drink. He chose to hook up with her. You are not overreacting. You are not selfish or hormonal. He's the selfish one. If you take him back, I guarantee he will do this again the next time his brain freezes, or you aren't able to cater to his every want. Find a new place and focus on taking care of yourself and your baby. He's not a good partner and you will be better off without him. Thank you. I needed to hear this. He did not make a mistake. He made a choice to ignore his commitment to you and be intimate with another woman. That is not a mistake. It's a very poor choice. And you are not the least bit responsible for his poor choices, as he is an adult and capable of functioning without you. You need a partner, not a child. You are not the a-hole. He was 100% shacked up with this woman the whole time he was ghosting you. He's lying. That's how I feel, because he didn't even acknowledge me until Friday. I would reach out to the friend you talked to, tell him you know about the bride's sister and you're just confirming the details. That guy knows what happened. The reason I say he's shacked up with her is that a guy with this level of maturity would argue to himself, well, since I already slept with her, what's the harm? I thought about it, and my friend said this would make me look like a crazy person. Is it crossing the boundary if I do that? I guess I would approach it something like, hey, I've spoken with my partner about what happened in Mexico with the bride's sister. I just want to make sure I have the full story. You spent the rest of the week with her? Keep it somewhat vague and non-accusatory. And yes, it's a white lie, but it can help bring truth. However, also ask yourself the question whether you even want to know. Would it change your decision to leave him? Also, I missed that this man is almost 40. If he can't have a drink without ending up falling in another woman's vag, then you've got way bigger problems. I just texted him that. Hopefully he will tell me the truth instead of covering up for him. First update. As many of you suggested, I sent a quick message to his friend and a bridesmaid he slept with. I told them that Kyle had admitted to the hookup and said it was a one-time thing, but I was wondering if there was more to the story they'd like to share. They both blocked me. Then, all of his friends blocked me on social media as well. Late last night, he sent me a message, I think he was drunk, calling me an unhinged lunatic. He said he had done the right thing by owning up to his mistake and confessing, yet I acted like a crazy person and harassed his friends and the bridesmaid. He accused me of being so insecure that it was pathetic and said that we are done. He told me to get out of his house immediately. He didn't mention the baby even once. I decided not to reply. I didn't have the energy and had been crying all day. Last night, I made a decision to move back in with my family, and I'm leaving early tomorrow morning. My family is happy that I'm coming back, especially my mother. I don't think I'll say goodbye to his mom. I'm not ready to talk to him, and she would probably just try to involve him in a conversation. Thank you again for all your comments and support. It sounds like you've made a strong decision for your well-being, and move back to your family is a positive step toward healing. I was awake all night packing and crying. I feel very hurt and heartbroken. It's easy for someone else to say, but don't feel too bad about losing him. He sounds like a terrible person and would likely have been a terrible father to your child. He has already established he is a terrible partner to you. You are accomplished and are going back to people who love you and can raise your baby in peace without his influence. I hope you don't tell him you are leaving. And even though he said to get out of his house, I'm willing to bet my life when he shows up and you are not there and he realizes you packed all your stuff, he's going to flip. He thinks he can do what he wants, and then you call him out and he gets mad at you. Screw this dude, honestly. For as old as he and his friends are, they sound like teenagers. And they are okay with their friends sleeping around and their friends sleeping with people who are in relationships. They all suck. You are doing the right thing. Good for you, and I hope you and your baby have the best life. No, I never replied after he told me to GTFO out his place immediately. Birds of a feather stick together. He sucked, and so did his friends. Good riddance to them all. For the future though, if medication messes up your birth control and condoms are advised, if your partner refuses to wear protection, refuse to sleep with them. I wish you well in your pregnancy. But girl, don't sleep with a man who doesn't respect something that's common sense and advised by a medical professional. That's what I told him that doctor advised rubbers. He rolled his eyes and said, would you relax? I don't need a damn rubber. I know what I'm doing. I'll pull out. Then says he pulled out late. Yes, I feel so stupid trusting him. Second update. Hi, I'm sitting at the airport waiting for my flight, so I thought I'd write one last update. I messaged his mom to tell her what happened, and I was shocked when she immediately called back. furious with me. She said I had some nerve twisting the story to cover for my cheating. I was completely confused and told her I didn't understand what she was talking about. Apparently, he told everyone, including his mom, that he had checked my social media. He had all my passwords, though I never had any of this. I've since changed all my passwords and found out that I was having an affair with a coworker. According to him, I was trying to trick him into raising a baby from this supposed affair. I explained to his mom that most of my team works remotely, so this claim makes no sense. Plus, I only have about 25 followers on Instagram, mostly family from back home. I also have a personal rule not to add coworkers on social media because I prefer to keep my personal and professional lives separate. She said her son found out about the affair while he was alone in Mexico and is now heartbroken. She kept going on about how I could do something like that to him. I kept trying to explain, but she wasn't listening. I was so upset that I finally told her I was done arguing and hung up. I'm done with this man and his lies. He just makes things up and blames me for them. I can't do this anymore. I've submitted a time-off request to my boss, who is amazing, and will be taking some time to settle down over the next few weeks. I'm looking forward to starting a new chapter in my life without him. Holy smokes. I'm so sorry. The trash took itself out. These people are toxic. Save yourself. I was gonna tell his mom I'll gladly do a DNA test when the baby is born just to prove that I have never cheated. Then I realized she doesn't want to listen to me. What's the point? Think about that once you get some time and space. If you decide to establish paternity, hire legal counsel. Child support is the right of the child. Knowing that, everything can go through the courts. You don't have to engage his mother on this topic. If he pushes for a paternity test, you may not have a choice. Either way, take time. Build your support circle. Be safe and peaceful for you and your baby. Think about what you want and what your child will need. Then determine what to do. I'll keep you in my thoughts and prayers. Do an agreement that when the test comes out and the baby is his, she and him won't be involved in the baby's life. I'm gonna talk to my dad's lawyer next week. That's a good idea. I just can't get over his lies. The only co-workers I have in our Canadian branch is my boss, a lady in her late 50s, our admin lady, and the IT guy who is a guy in his late 60s and happily married. Rest are all virtual. I've been working from home for a long time.